Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. We continue our foray into the WCW 1991 season here, actually ending the season as this is the final in the episodes. For 1991, we go into 1990 up next. This particular episode is the 1/5/91 edition. Paul Heyman, a.k.a. Paulie Dangerously, conducts a backstage interview with Rip Rogers regarding his match later in the show against Brian Pillman, in which pinfalls would not count for the first 5 minutes, with Rogers claiming that he was a marathon man and would outlast Pillman once the opening 5 minutes were up, including information on how fans could vote for the WCW Second Shift Wrestler, with the winner being announced during the January 30th Clash. Champions featuring footage from Zink's previous week. Tom Zink beating Arn Anderson for the TV title following the backstage promo. Zink regarding a rematch with Anderson, including dangerously conducting a ringside interview with Terry Taylor, in which Taylor claimed that he should get a shot at Zink and should be focused on as the new television champion. Also, a Wrestle War ad featuring footage from the 12/22/1990 match between Michael Hayes and WCW US Champion Tag Team Champion Rick Steiner, following comments from Hayes and Jimmy Garvin in which they said they would soon take the US Tag Team Championships away from the Steiners, a restaurant near the Meadowlands, regarding upcoming participation in the Meadowlands show, including a closing segment in which Ross conducts an interview with Missy Hyatt and Dangerously regarding upcoming arm wrestling contest that they have. Then we go to Sid Vicious and Pablo Crenshaw with a very basic one-sided match. Obviously, 246 wins with a powerbomb after declining to put him with a leg drop prior to the bout. Vicious also cuts an insert promo on facing U.S. champion Lex Luger. Sid Vicious, obviously, a.k.a. Sid Justice, Psycho Sid, whatever name he uses throughout the years. This is kind of his first major deal in a national product here. And ultimately, his punches look kind of weak. The rest of his offense often looks a little off and suspect, but you can't deny that he has certainly a unique presence, and also the fans are solidly behind him almost every time he pops up in wrestling. Then we go to the Brian Pillman and Rip Rogers match. Again, Rogers kind of had said that he is a marathon man, believing that he can go longer than Pillman at any given time, claiming that there were no pinfalls in the first 5 minutes. Rip Rogers, I did not realize, was as influential in WCW at the time. They brawl within the ring. Pillman tries to get things going, and the match goes obviously more than 5 minutes with no pinfalls counting in the first 5 minutes. Rip Rogers doing the Marathon Man gimmick, kind of keeping himself in a consistent role there. Irish whips and misses monkey flip by Pillman, blocked by Rip Rogers. Rogers pretty much in a pretty consistent run here, and trying to keep things under control, as it were. Obviously, Rip Rogers tries to do everything he possibly can to get the match under control. Pillman, though, eventually does get the top rope maneuvers and getting things in a sunset flip roll-up for himself. Top rope sunset flip, as it were. And we see Pillman getting a victory. Pillman, of course, relatively new to the area and not exactly being in the best position. Kind of an opening match deal with Rip Rogers, but hey, he's on national television, and that's what matters at this particular juncture. We then go to highlights of the Arn Anderson and Tom Zink deal from the previous week. Anderson and Zink are going at it pretty regularly there. Obviously, Zink getting the victory, as it were. Highlights and including the WCW Wrap-Up magazine, which is basically a live event program, is what it comes down to, or you can order it through the mail if you're a big-time WCW fan. Then we go to Bobby Eaton here in the television championship match with Tom Zink. Again, that match is kind of a decent one, enough that the fans are solidly in control. Again, Terry Taylor not happy with that. He doesn't get the match here. Decent lockups, worth going out of your way to see. Both guys jockeying for position during the majority of the match. Also, pretty basics along the way. Tie up on the arms, and Bobby Eaton manages to do everything he can, where he can, trying to get under the skin of his opponent. Again, Terry Taylor mentioning in a post-match promo that he believes he should have gotten the option there. Bobby Eaton getting a victory here in other form. And again, we kind of go to the Tribal Nation in an enhancement match here. They are relatively new tag team doing Native American gimmick at a time when it really, I wouldn't say doesn't matter, but it's certainly just kind of odd. There are people stalking around on the outside of the ring. We get Mountain Man Bailey in there. And again, kind of seeing that for what it is. There is ultimately a kind of a jump of another one of the Mountain Men kind of coming in and hitting. This particular individual is none other than, and Mountain Man Bailey gets dominated. The individual he is facing is a relative newcomer in the form of Minotaur, 227, Minotaur's TV debut. That character doesn't last too terribly long. I think we might see that a few times. Minotaur is basically stalking around looking like he's crazy. Then we go to Lex Luger, U.S. champion. Lex Luger against Mike Samples, 221. He hits a tackle from the middle turnbuckle during the bout. Big Cat cuts a promo insert about facing Luger on January 13th. The Meadowlands football match with Lawrence Taylor in his corner. Lawrence Taylor, of course, becoming part of wrestling in 1995 with the WWF. Luger punch kick clotheslines and the torture rack, but the second rope clothesline kind of doing the continuation of their issues. Michael Wall Street with Alexander York defeating Greg Sawyer with the stock market crash. Following up here pretty quickly. Prior to the bout, York announced that Wall Street would defeat his opponent in 6 minutes or less. After the contest, Missy Hyatt conducts a ringside interview with Wall Street in New York, where Wall Street commenting on his recent mention in the USA Today. Moments later, Paulie dangerously appears and confronts Hyatt over why she's doing the interview instead of him. York then asked dangerously if he was a chauvinist or if he's just a personal thing between him and Missy, dangerously leaving, telling Missy she would see him soon. Again, the punch kick, and of course Michael Wall Street, the former Mike Rotundo, trying to do a business suit gimmick here. Doesn't really go that well in a basic match. Then we go to Tom Zink defeating Dr. X with a dropkick and a missile dropkick off the top. During the contest, Missy Hyatt would have an arm wrestling contest with Paulie dangerously catch the champions. And early on in the match, Terry Taylor comes to ringside. Basically, briefly joins the commentary team to discuss wanting a TV title shot. That seems to be a major thing here at the time. Zink, arm bars and fireman's carry takeovers, couple of drop kicks, and then, of course, the top rope drop kick. Then we go to Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin defeating Keith Hart and Jimmy McKinnon. 343 simultaneous pinfalls, falling DDTs on each opponent. During the bout, it's announced that Norman would face Sid Vicious the following week. Not exactly worth going out of your way to see that one, as Norman and Sid are what you'd expect them to be in that role. Arn Anderson defeats Terry Taylor 622 with feet on the ropes, leverage after momentum, crossbody by Taylor. put Anderson on top of I guess, on top of his ability to get the victory. This match is decent enough, worth going out of your way to see, just because Arn Anderson and Terry Taylor know how to get working together in such a way that things look to be a bit of a decent enough deal here. And again, I mean, Anderson, just about anybody can do good things here, but it's certainly an interesting run as the idea of kind of coming forward with more. Highlights of Sting and Ric Flair also were included in the from previous generations of things. Obviously, the Sting and Ric Flair going at the Meadowlands, Sting winning at Starrcade, among other things. Is here Ric Flair promises that he is going to be the world champion in the Meadowlands coming up in the beginning of January, which he actually does begin to do here. Arn Anderson again in his match with Terry Taylor, kind of proving that he has the necessary facets to be the television champion. Taylor, though, kind of trying to do the babyface thing, doesn't really get over. This is right post his Red Rooster thing. I think he leaves about 6 months before doing the Rooster thing, something like that. Taylor does launch Anderson off the top rope and tries to get things going in his general direction. Does not last very long, but it is what it is as far as things are concerned. And then again, the football match for Lex Luger is hyped. They are trying desperately to get people to care about Luger as the U.S. champion, also trying desperately to get Mr. Hughes over. The Mr. Hughes big cat thing doesn't really work out all that well for his future career. Tim Horner and George South close the program. Why you close the program with a 3 or 4 minute squash match, I don't really understand. Tim Horner is a guy they're trying to get over, but it doesn't really work in that context. We will be back with more right after this.